Robinette, former Special ICE agent in charge in San Antonio, Texas. Now, Dan,
yes,
I was shocked when I got back from this trip to Normandy. I got back and I started reading the local CBS reports in San Antonio about the figures of people, and we always think it's Guatemalans, Hondurans, and just Central Americans, some Mexicans, but I noticed when we were in Del Rio, and I talked to the Border Patrol folks there, they said there are people from other than the Northern Triangle countries coming in, including Africans. And we were doing 50,000 things, so I didn't focus on it, but now we do know 500 and more coming from the capital of in the Congo, Kinshasa, I believe.
Yeah, well,
has San Antonio really been ready for this? Are they ready for this? And how is this happening with very little coverage in the national media?
No one is ready for this. Our Border Patrol being overwhelmed, as you knew when you came to Del Rio a few months ago. And Laura, you know, I feel like a voice in the wilderness. I've been saying this for years. The disease that comes in, people from all over the world, coming from South America, coming from China, coming from Africa. I talked about it last week or the last time I was with you, all over the world. You have to ask yourself, how do they get here? How is this facilitated that these poor people are able to get on a flight, get to South America, and led to San Antonio? It's an international, transnational drug cartel bringing these people this country. And they're bringing disease, they're bringing a lack of education, they're bringing tremendous needs upon our taxpayers. And Laura, something else that is just very clear to me. When you said about the 500 that have been apprehended, asked for asylum, there's also, if you read further in that story, hundreds more are just dropped off on street corners. As I've been saying again, for everyone we catch, and I know you have someone from ICE with us tonight, can maybe verify this, maybe we get 1 out of 3, 1 out of 4, 1 out of 5. Yeah. Laura, last month, 140-some thousand apprehended, probably another 3,000 or 4,000 came in, and what California has done to Medi-Cal. I mean, Laura, where does this end? I'll tell you where it ends. Totally undermining our country, bankrupting our states and our federal government, destroying our democracy. I'm worried about my children, my grandchildren, and everyone watching better understand that the Democrats, the actions by the Democrats in Washington are no less than treason. They're selling out our country, and this is why I was one of the few Republicans that stood with the president and said, and look, tariffs are always the last resort, but they're a powerful tool.
Well, we're in an emergency situation.
And we're in an emergency situation, so you do whatever you need to do, and I thought the president was right to use this tool because we've got to have Mexico help us stopping this. It's their south border and helping us in the country.
We're gonna get into the tariff thing. The president had no choice, and he did what was necessary to help protect this country when no one else apparently will do it on the federal level or have the guts to do it. Jerry, though, I have to get your response to this because San Antonio's assistant city manager, Dr. Colleen Bridger, also revealed this to this local CBS station. Quote, the plan was that 350 of them, these are the Congolese folks, would travel from San Antonio to Portland, as in Portland, Maine. But when we reached out to Portland, Maine, they said, please don't send us any more. We're already stretched way beyond our capacity. So we're working with them, the migrants now, to identify other cities throughout the United States where they can go and begin their asylum-seeking process. Now, Jerry, in your time with ICE, did you ever see anything like this?
Actually not. It has overwhelmed our resources, our capabilities. It's like, what's next? The agency officers along the border, they're drinking out of a fire hose right now. They're barely keeping up with their responsibilities. You have a lot of resources that are being dedicated to address with what you're seeing today. My biggest concern is at what sacrifice? What else? What is it that we're not doing that we should be doing because of all the attention and all the resources that are being diverted to deal with this influx? That's what probably bothers me, and then the amount of money that we're spending.
The money to this regular taxpayers. And Dan, you touched on this with the now California providing health care to adults 19 to 25 years of age. That's also a shock. But the transformation politically of the country is what, you know, Tucker's done a lot on this on his show. I've been talking about this for years. That's what they want to do to Texas. And if they could sprinkle people out to other parts of the country and set up, you know, it's almost like countries within the country. They've done it in parts of Minnesota. We're going to get to that later. They want to do it in Maine and again, Maine's really stretched with a lot of the refugees they have there. Yeah. But this is the goal, is it not? It's sending them out to rural America as well.
Yeah, look, this is the goal of the Democrats, to take over the country. Their policies don't work, so they have to bring people in the country who are uneducated of what America stands for, what capitalism is all about, of what responsibility is all about. And look, there's some good people trying to get here. I have it. I got it. But we cannot absorb all the people on the planet. They've gone from Medi-Cal to Holy Cow in California. What are they thinking? 19 to 25 will expand to the 30-year-olds and the 35-year-olds, and that'll expand to 100 million to 500 million to 4 billion. And they're going to tax American citizens to give free health care to people that come here illegally? Laura, the Democrats are going to play this out as long as they can, because at one day, long-term plan, one day they'll get these people to register to vote. And they're going to register, they think, for them, and they hope for them. And it is going to change the face of the country, and that's why this is a long, drawn-out plan.
Right.
And
that's why legal immigration is so important, because you have the time to assimilate people into the country instead of just.
But they don't want that, Laura. They don't want legal immigration. They don't want to take
these poor people and dump them into one part of the country where they're going to be speaking their own native language with the entire community, and it's harder for them to assimilate in those circumstances oftentimes. Now, Jerry, you just brought up the issue. And the Ingram angle spoke with Cynthia Brem, who is the chairman of the Republican Party of Bexar County, and she provided some alarming information. She said that the San Antonio City Council gave $141,000 to Catholic charities who are reaching out to illegal aliens to provide food, clothing, medical attention, and bus fares for them. Now, the City Council has already exhausted its budget for 2019. So it looks like some of these, third-party groups that get, $100 million from the federal government every year, Catholic charities get, they're the ones who are then left to kind of do the triage on the streets.
And they're overwhelmed. The Catholic Church, the bishops are overwhelmed. I want Jerry to get in on this. Yeah, I want Jerry to get on this. Jerry, go ahead.
Well, look, you could imagine this problem in San Antonio. Could you imagine this problem in Del Rio or some of our other border towns? Yeah. Thank God that San Antonio is probably a little bit more capable of providing whatever services they're going to provide at this point. But I mean, this is something that's playing on every day along the border. These border towns are not.
But we've got to people have got to understand this. This is not about the border town play. I mean, they're affected, of course. This is about the country. This is not about just the border town. They come from the border town. I witnessed it with my own eyes, and we were there. They're dropped on buses, and Dan knows they're sent in, points unknown. And a lot of these communities are not even told they're arriving. Guys, thank you so much tonight. And today, the Democrats kicked off another impeachment spectacle, this time conjuring up the ghost of Watergate past on the Hill. Congressman Jim Jordan